Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm already here in the courtroom and getting some stuff ready here. I got to file a motion for a mistrial, and we will see how it goes today. Wish me luck. So let me flip this thing around. Get this thing all situated. Follow. Chill locked. Okay, good to go here.
Maurice. Yeah. Jessica Brooks.
No, I know.
20 minutes.
Because it's assumed that I know, it's assumed that I watch the other cases and that I watch crime shows and I understand all of it. I've never watched any of that.
Is that your thing?
Yeah, this is my request to record.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna have to give it to him. I mean,
Yeah, it is what it is.
yeah.
I don't want to get accused of stealing a pen, too.
Witness tampering.
Yeah.
Hi. This gentleman filed a motion in my case, and I need a copy of that. It's already upstairs? Okay, and then, because I'm going to file a motion with that attached, I just would like to see it. And then I have a copy of, one copy of each of these, one for the judge and one for the, I'm about to file, in a blank motion form, please. Please, yes.
Hold on to these things. Are you going to file a motion form with it?
Yes, I need a copy for myself. And so if you want to wait for that, I don't know if you want to just copy it now.
I'm going to wait so I can attach the copy.
Okay.
On it and stipple it.
Okay.
I'm going to have you hold on to
Sure.
that, and I'll have you fill it out.
I have a pen.
You have a pen?
Yes, thank you so much. I'll be right back. Hey, how's it going?
I called Monica. I didn't get a call back.
Are you a witness?
Yeah, yeah. 'Cause I was right behind you.
Oh, okay.
In the trees. Yeah. So if you want, I can.
Hey.
If you want me.
Yeah, if you want to come up there, and then when it's about to start, all the witnesses just gonna have to be out of the courtroom.
Okay.
They have the witnesses sequestered, so.
Okay.
And
I
if-
don't know where to go.
Yeah, it'll be upstairs. Should be courtroom 3, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. I got to file something. All right. What's going on? Hey, Margaret. What are you guys doing? Thank you so much. Doing some last minute motions here. Motion for mistrial. Motion for mistrial. Take this off too. It's freaking melting. Okay. It is March 31st. Woo. 2023.
How you doing?
To
How you been?
Well, how are you?
Good, good. Went out wheeling the other day. I almost gave you a rant.
Well, you should have.
Yeah, no, I should have. I seen that while I was out there. I was like, fuck, Walt would love to come out with us.
Yeah.
You're kind of far away though. You want
Where'd you go, Willie?
to match?
Too bad. I mean, things are going highway that much. It is highway gear though, so I never know the gear. I mean, it's only 15, 20 minutes down the way to go to Manchester.
Yeah, totally. I brought a new and she's a four-door.
Yeah.
And she's like, I need a lift. So she bought a lift. Bumpers, they're sitting at my shop and you're in this week.
Nice.
And we're definitely going to be out wheeling quite a bit. So, I don't know if you're interested, but
Yeah.
really cool.
For sure.
Bring them out, get them all.
all right. Let's see here. I think it's this one. Hopefully. Right. Yeah. Okay.
It's ridiculous with the other 7. There's like 8 different trials.
Oh, it should be.
You know?
They were all separate, so you know.
This is like Frank.
Someone's saying, well, everybody loves Frank.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It'd be like taking down Trump if they could get Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3, 6, 5, 4. Okay, there we go. That. Okay, motion for mistrial. My witnesses were wrongfully excluded because natural persons are excluded from Rule 16, Rule 615, Rule 615, Rule 615. Moreover, Trooper Potenza was left inside the court room for day one of trial. Has no credibility issues. And was texting while other troopers were testifying. The state was obligated to have Provenza sequestered. Evidence is Evidence is now irrevocably tainted.
Fucking right, guy. That was good.
Thanks. All right. Shoot this off, and then we'll head up. Hey, I'll be up there shortly. Hey, what's going on? Wait.
Case name.
State versus Frank Negus Staples.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So that, and then whatever that guy filed, I'd like attached as well.
Okay, that's already upstairs.
Okay.
But I'll make,
Oh, hold on 1 second. Let me see this. Let me make sure that's all. Oh yeah. So this is transcription of the. What's going on here? What happened to? So there's these. This is the transcription. Oh yeah. Yes. And this is just going to be an exhibit, actually.
you take that then.
Take this then.
That.
Okay. And these should be with this.
So
Awesome.
how many copies do you want?
Just one for me, and then the court, and one for the court, and one for the prosecution.
Sorry,
It's okay. It's a bunch there.
so 3 additional copies.
Please.
Could I just
Or just two. One,
the media for
one for the court, and then one for the prosecution and me.
I see you up there.
Okay, I'll see you up there. Thank you so much.
baba barimo barashaka gukora yuko nubwo babigisha ntabwo bigisha kano kanya bashaka kwigisha wowe uri muri public kubwo nibwo twaguhagarikije na license yawe uri buze kuvuga bati ni mbona kuyijyamo nanone muri ya modoka kujya gukora nanone
naje kwibaza bishobora kuba pino turi mu manza bakanyenza rero ukanyamba gutanga uzafasha bagahita bantwara license
nukwita bazireba buri kanya bakatavuga ati imodoka y'umutuku hariya kuriya avanga ajya muri Concorde ajya Manchester so kano kanya
umwanya wo gutera umukozi ukazasanga ari ku muhanda cyacu
abahagaze ntacyo ndi kuhaje gucya mu idirishya barimo baranareba neza ibyo byabanye na ntihari hepfo muri nozenya muri Happington yanjye ariko ntabwo byari speeding yatewe yuko yarampagarikije ariko yampagarikije ndi kure ndabona ntabwo asa n'umuntu ntikije amatara n'ikikure cyane habaye iki nikigera imbere agatera byamuteye amatara yawe asa nkaho atakije neza kuri kanamba kwezi imodoka yatanze imodoka yakazi hano ushinzwe kuba ndakora ibindi gahunda nanjye gutwara umwana agarutse ni imodoka shikanye kubwira boss wawe they have to double check this irigenda ari warning ariko igenda ihagaze ku izina ryanjye nubwo drivers ahandi hantu hose bagahita bareba no bagatasha mu izina ryanjye no petise so muhagarikije ejo bundi kano kanya
kubera ko kubyumva na license bagusha muri system cyane moni hanganye ko ntacyo gukora gusa no turahomba
none rero bajya bakora slowly
umuntu wese bari kukugerera n'utakwambara
urupapuro bibamuhadira byinshi
6 minutes.
3 copies, 1 for you and 2 for Barbara.
Awesome.
You're all set, I'll go ahead and send this out.
Okay, thank you so much. Hey, I'll be right there. Okay, got my speaker, because that TV speaker is horrible. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do this. Not much. Just filed a motion for a mistrial because they're denying the witnesses because of the Rule 615 thing or whatever. So, yeah.
Can I give you my timeline as an exhibit?
Yes, I'll take that and I'll see.
And Regina Barnes did a testimony, but she didn't sign it. Do you want it or not? There's 3 copies and it's in the envelope.
All right. Yeah. Just okay. It's in which envelope?
Alan Roy, who's right here, has it too.
Okay.
You want his?
What is this? These
She
are.
didn't sign it. He signed his.
He did.
I couldn't make the last one, so I did it written, but I'm here today.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
Did you get a copy of mine?
She said it was up here.
I'll give it to you.
Regina's if you need it.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there you go.
All right. Cool. Thank you. All right. Let's see here. Did somebody grab this for me?
Is the bailiff gonna the door? Or?
Is it open in there? Yep. Okay. Excellent. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, hey. It's in front of the judge right now, so we'll see what he says. Also, mistrial, motion for mistrial, because they let Provenza stay in here the whole first day of trial and then continue to stay in the whole second day of trial, but then they want to deny all our witnesses. And there's an exclusion to the Rule 615, there's a exception to the Rule 615 exclusionary of witnesses rule that does not apply to natural persons. Okay, so the judge's order doesn't apply to natural persons.
But does apply to cops?
It does apply to cops. Thank you. So yeah, here's an objection to the subpoenas and all that. Yeah. All right, so we got that. Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Have a good day. Thank you. Okay. This. This. Hey. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, you got that right. Okay.
You called me the other day and said you couldn't get your finger pie. I said, come ahead, pick it up. I fit it here.
Okay.
Here it is.
And this is for,
Case number 2 anyway.
that was the other one, right? Yeah.
Right. And here's the 2 complaints that were filed by Dombrowski early on, the original 2 complaints. And there's the bail order from,
The one that said bootlickers?
yeah, the first case, the second case, the legislative office building.
Yeah. Is this the one that said bootlickers? Yeah, no. So there's another one. The original charging document from the day I was arrested. This is like way afterwards.
Yeah, you could ask, folks could ask that
No, it has to be in the state trooper files because when I showed up here for my arraignment on the 14th, no one was here and no charges had been
We
filed.
talked about that, so.
Okay, so there was an original document that said bootlickers, that I said bootlickers. So
That's the second case.
it can't just disappear unless the,
I'll look for it again.
all right, yeah.
I'll look for it again. But
Because
if
it
was
did
filed-
exist.
if it was filed-
It was not filed with the court. It was not filed with the court, is what I'm trying to tell you.
And I was here and I witnessed it.
He was here and he witnessed it. Well, yeah, so that's another day. That will be fun. That trial is going to be something else, let me tell you.
Good morning, everybody. Make sure your cell phones are quiet so we can have a clear record. If you guys have hats on it, you can take them off, and greatly appreciate it. And other than that, when the judge is on the bench, just keep it quiet so we get a clear record for this trial. And if you have to have a conversation with your neighbor, please take it out in the hallway. All right? Thanks. We're gonna get started here very shortly.
Excellent. Boom, 22. And so this is okay. Motions. Let's see here.
All rise, please.
Good morning, please be seated. Case of the state of New Hampshire versus Frank Staples, case number 49, 2021, CR 3652. There were requests by Robert Rockefeller to record this proceeding. Mr. or Ms. Kelly to record this proceeding. Two requests from
One of them's her copy. She forgot. She left it down there, I think.
All right, so she, okay. Ms. Kelly. Ms. Kelly? All right, so your authorization request is approved. Mr. Rockefeller? Your request is approved. And then everyone else has the standing approval. Mr. Staples, you filed a motion this week.
Yes, sir. And I just filed another one as well.
All right, your motion to continue or dismiss the matter, based on the identity of the prosecutor.
What is it?
This is a dismissal based on the fact that attorneys general and Stanton have never filed an attorney.
Oh, that was in the other case. Did I put the wrong case number on that? That was for the next trial. So that's the thing. I was also scheduled today again for 2 trials at 10 o'clock.
Let's just address, so this is not, this doesn't address this proceeding.
I don't believe so. It's at the two. Yes, yes.
And then you made a request for the court to issue or approve subpoenas to the executive counselors and the governor.
Yeah, not necessarily approve, but just to sign them, because it said that I had to get them signed by a clerk, and the clerk refused here. So I went to the New Hampshire Supreme Court, and Clerk Timothy Gudis redirected me to you. So the clerk said, all right, I'll send these up to the judge.
The state of New Hampshire provided an objection to your motion for.
Yeah, I just got it. Can I have time to respond?
You know, I've had a chance to briefly consider their objection. I've had a chance to review your motion, which you filed earlier this week.
Mm-hmm.
The point they make about people appearing on your witness list, you didn't comply with the criminal procedure rules to provide a witness list or identify these people prior to trial.
What do you mean? They were there, and they know who they should have called them as witnesses, because if the meeting was disrupted, one of them would have been the ones to say the meeting was disrupted.
Sure, but in your motion you say that you want to cross-examine these people. The state's rested its case. So
Well, I want to question them. Maybe I misspoke or whatever. I'm asking for some leeway if I'm misspeaking on these type of things, and not to be held to the standards of a lawyer here. I have a right to press my case, and they opened the door to at the very least, Governor Sununu, because they relied heavily on what Governor Sununu was thinking or saying and what he meant by all these statements. So at the very least, Governor Sununu should be there. And I forgot to put it here, but I want to subpoena the phone records between the state police and Governor Sununu while he was texting during the meeting, and they were having their little huddles and they kept checking on the phone, because it's obvious that Sununu was texting them orders on what to do. And if he was disrupted, and there's evidence of how the meeting was disrupted, and that evidence is in the text, and that's why these arrests were made, then that has to be made, and that's discoverable evidence as well.
your motions are respectfully denied, Mr. Staples.
How about the other one?
So you made a motion for a mistrial.
Yes, sir.
That was handed in this morning.
Yes.
Did you provide a copy of this to the state of New Hampshire?
I gave the court 2 copies, one for them, and did I not bring it?
I haven't seen it yet. I don't think we've seen it.
Oh, I got them right here.
That's
Sorry. Huh?
It's denied. You didn't provide it.
I just got copies of them, and the clerk said to bring them up here myself. I don't know what to tell you. I just filed these, I just wrote these literally downstairs. So you have to give me a chance to give these to the people here.
What's the basis of your motion for?
The basis of my mistrial is the fact that Trooper Provenza, who's not here, who is their IT guy, he was allowed to stay in during the sequestration order on the first day. It is up to me to clear my witnesses out of the courtroom like I did that day, and it's up to the state to clear their witnesses out of the courtroom. Now, I spoke to O'Leary on the phone, and he tried to intimate to me that it was up to me to recognize Trooper Provenza, even though I was here shouting, "Where's Trooper Provenza? Where's Trooper Provenza?" all day. And they acted like he wasn't in the room. And they allowed Trooper Provenza to stay in during the first trial. And then they used anyone who watched the day of the first trial to exclude my witnesses from being able to testify. And Rule 615 has an exception to the exclusionary rule, and it does not apply to natural persons. So the fact that Robert Muckenthaler was denied the ability to testify, as many others were as well, violates Rule 615. They're natural persons. They're not subject to your sequestration order. They were not given the order. They were not on any list until day 2 of trial. So the fact that the state allowed someone who also has known credibility issues and a case in at the Supreme Court right now to keep from being left on the Lori list, Trooper Provenza, who destroyed his body cam image after being alleged to do cavity searches on women. He also turned off his, it seems like a common thing with Trooper Provenza where his vehicle just happens, the dash cam stops recording as well. And all these things are in front of the courts right now. He has credibility issues.
Mr. Staples, you called Trooper Provenza to the witness.
Correct. And I didn't realize at the time that, hey, wait, this is funny how none of my witnesses can testify, even though they watched the first day of trial, but this guy was allowed to stay in the room, and then he could testify and stay in for the whole second day of trial, and text the whole time, which I caught on video.
Well, Mr. Staples, the state didn't know that you were going to call Trooper Provenza.
Of course they did. I said, where's Trooper Provenza? Where's Trooper Provenza? You're telling me they didn't know I was calling Trooper. I tried to call him that day. I tried to call Trooper Provenza the first day.
Mr. Staples.
So don't tell me they didn't know I was going to call him.
Mr. Staples, please calm down.
No, I'm not going to calm down because you don't make no sense. None of this makes any sense. How was Trooper Provenza allowed to stay in during the sequestration?
Mr. Staples, your motion for mistrial is respectfully denied. Please proceed.
Why?
As I recall it, we were present here on March 17th, and we had to stop at the end of the day. The state was in the middle of cross-examining Patricia Jorgensen. Do you want to resume with that?
I do, Your Honor. Just briefly, I think the court has made the point, but we got the defendant's witness list after the first day of trial. The first day of trial was the 10th. I did not have a witness list for him. I did not have any notice from him that he intended to call Provenza. I had provided him with a witness list. Trooper Provenza was not on the witness list, and as I explained to the court, and as we clearly made clear to the defendant, Trooper Provenza was here essentially as an IT person to help us run the videos and all the rest. He made a decision at some point in time that he wanted to call Trooper Provenza, then put him on a list that he provided us prior to the start of the 17th, and then he called him as a witness. We weren't intending to call him, so sequestration does not apply. We gave him notice of who we intended to call, and we called exactly who we intended to call. So that's our fault.
Your Honor, if I may, he was a witness. He's the one that wrote all the tickets. So obviously he was a witness, and he should have been on the witness list. And I was asking, where is this guy all day, and why isn't he on the witness list? So
Mr. Staples, they didn't call Trooper Provenza as a witness.
I understand that. And that was a way of allowing him to stay in the room and text the other people what the testimony was.
There's no evidence.
Of course there is. It's on his phone.
All right,
The evidence is on my camera as well.
Mr. Staples, you were in the process of having a witness, Ms. Jorgensen, testify. She was being subject to cross-examination by the state. Would you please call Ms. Jorgensen?
Let's see if she's out there. Jorgensen, yeah. If she's out there, I don't know. So you're not going to allow any of my witnesses that are natural persons that are not subject to the exclusionary order?
I'm sorry?
The witnesses that you disqualified there's an exemption or an exception to that rule for natural persons. Is there not? You don't know that? Rule 615, do you want me to pull it up?
That man there, you do not make spontaneous utterances.
Those are the real rules of court.
Yeah.
Have that man removed.
Well, one. Thank you.
He's right. Learn the rules. You don't know Rule 615? You want me to pull it up? Do you want me to pull it up? Do you have a book?
Is Ms. Jorgensen there?
I don't know. Is she here? So that's what I'm trying to get at. Am I allowed to call,
Do you have a motion?
You need to just include any testimony that's offered at this point, and move to the next witness.
All right. Ms. Jorgensen's testimony is struck in its entirety. Call your next witness, please.
yeah. All right. Jonathan Harmon. No water today. No Jonathan Harmon either. Deb Bud, Rich Bud. Deb Bud or Rich Bud. And then I had someone that was going to be here today, and they had surgery recently. They were not able to make it. The Honorable Bob Gaida. He asked if it could be, he could testify after April 15th. If I could make a motion for that. Is this Bud? This is Rich Bud.
Correct.
All right. They're gonna ask you some questions.
Sure. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony given in this proceeding will be the truth and the penalties of perjury?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Please state your name and spell your last name for the record, sir.
Richard Budd, B-U-D-D.
Preliminary questions. Have you watched any of the videos of the first day of this proceeding or the second day of this proceeding?
None of it.
Have you spoken to any of the witnesses who have previously testified about this case?
No.
Have you talked to any of the witnesses who you think may be called about this case?
No.
Any further questions? Please proceed.
Sir, thank you for coming out today. And where were you sitting approximately in the room when during the meeting on October 13th?
Well, as the panel looked at us, like this here, I was in the left section, actually where you and Teresa were. We were across the aisle to the left, probably not more than 12 feet away from you in the straight arrow, but just next side of the aisle. I was about the 4th seat down, I think, to the right, to the left.
Okay.
Not far at all. I could see you when I leaned forward, I could see you and Teresa, I could see that area. You were probably a roll back of us to the left.
Okay. What do you recall for disturbances of the meeting that day, if any?
Okay, that day, as we were walking in the building, I didn't notice so much, but my wife did. As we were getting out of the parking lot, walking up on the building, I see it was a police academy and that kind of thing, but we noticed kind of a lot of state troopers, a lot of that type activity. And that was just actually alarming and bothered us a little, bothered my wife. It intimidated her from even going in, because she, as she discussed later, that it seemed to be like kind of a setup for her. It was uncomfortable, but we got inside and.
Your Honor, just a caution with respect to issues of hearsay. He appears to be offering the opinion and statements of his wife.
Sir, if you could limit your testimony to observations that you made and opinions that you might form, okay?
Okay, absolutely. So, we get in the building, and that's where I observed there was a lot of police present, and it was very uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. My wife didn't even want to stay. That's what she conveyed to me. So, and So anyways, when we were inside the building, we sat down and, it was all good. We were grateful for being able to go inside, get inside the building. And it started off, we did salute to the flag. I was pretty impressed that we got to do that. I'm surprised. And halfway through that, the people there, as us, it did get loud at the last half. We just, elevated our voice as one nation under God, indivisible. We did that. And I think it was Mr. Saloon who stated that will not be tolerated. And I was shocked that he said anything about that. But,
Do you know what exactly he meant when he said that will not be tolerated? Did he say anything specific? What would not be tolerated?
The outburst, or he referred to that as an outburst, and I thought like it was kind of passionate and nice, raising our voices to one nation under God.
Mm-hmm.
That was a nice thing. Even doing the pledge, I thought was good. So, no, I'm not sure what he meant by that. It just seemed to be a bit of an attitude right away.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure about that in my book.
Do you ever recall any warnings given to anyone around you or the room in general about outbursts besides that from Sununu after that at any time?
No, not at all. Not at all. Actually, it was fairly calm and quiet in there for as many people were in there. And there seemed to be more noise from the police shuffling around because they were, it just didn't seem to be a comfortable place with that much police present.
Mm-hmm.
There was an awful lot of police present.
And what was the ambient noise like in the room?
It was quiet. It was reasonably quiet. Like I say, quieter than you would think for having that kind of crowd in there that was, went there passionate about trying to conserve the spending of the money for the vaccines, etc.
And what was your objective there? Were you there to disrupt the meeting?
Not at all. No.
What were you waiting for at the
I was
meeting?
waiting for a chance to be able to voice opinions or just make a presence as going against what they were trying to propose.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to get a lot of money that would have strings attached, which I viewed definitely not a good thing for, the state of New Hampshire.
Okay, thank you.
I saw it as another attack on freedoms and rights.
Okay. So let me go through some of my notes here real quick. Did you ever hear anyone say, "Shut it down"?
I don't recall that, no.
How about amen?
Yes.
How many times or how many people, was it just once the amen? Or do you know who said amen?
No. I just thought I heard amen.
At what point of the meeting do you think that was?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And what about yeah? Did anyone ever say yeah that you felt was disruptive?
No.
And how about the amen? When you heard amen, was there a warning from the executive council or any of the troopers about that?
No.
Um,
I'm not even sure who said amen. It's just, I thought I heard amen is, that's what often Christian or godly people do, to say yes,
Mm-hmm.
say amen as an agreement.
okay.
So I didn't hear it shouted or anything like that.
Okay. Thank you. And did you see when I got arrested or tapped or taken out of the room?
No, not at all. In fact, I found that interesting because I didn't even know you two were moved till afterwards, until we went out back, and then I think it was Teresa, something shouted about you're being arrested. It was shocking, I never heard it, and you were so close. We were this distance away, and I never even seen them ask you to get up or leave or anything. And all I had to do was look to my left and notice that.
So,
It was shocking to me.
so prior to you hearing the commotion from behind the curtain, was the meeting stopped in any way?
No,
Was it paused?
no,
Did the executive council or the governor say anything up until that point? And how about clapping? Did you ever hear any clapping that you recall that was like disruptive clapping?
no, there was nothing to clap about.
Right. And would you be able to recognize my voice if you heard it?
Absolutely.
How would you describe my voice?
It's authoritative, it's loud, it's unique.
Okay. So, did you ever hear me say anything during the meeting prior to being pulled out behind?
Absolutely not. Have you ever been to any meetings like this before? Or like public meetings in general? Like the one we were at,
Yes.
the legislative.
Any of anything at like the State House or any?
Yes.
Okay. And was this a normal meeting?
Seems so.
Seems so. I mean, what about the time and the place of the meeting?
Well, that wasn't normal in the police academy.
What about the amount of people there? Was that a normal amount of people for one of these things?
There seemed to be a lot of people. A lot of people I noticed couldn't get inside.
How many people couldn't get inside, do you think? over 100 people stuck outside, not able to attend the public meeting. And I'm going through my notes, sir. Yes, I may have another question. Give me a second, please. Sorry, my stuff's a little out of order. So, did you hear any loud or unreasonable noises at any point during the meeting?
No, not at all. Like I said, other than the salute of the flag, it was very quiet in here.
Would you say it was unreasonable when we were singing the Pledge of Allegiance with such a loud group of people?
Well, it might have been unreasonable elevating the volume towards the end of the Pledge of Allegiance. I guess that's a matter of opinion, but like I said, I kind of liked it. It showed passion. I was grateful that we were.
To use. So you think others might see it as unreasonable? Obviously, Sununu said something, right? So true. But how about yourself? What did you think about it?
It showed passion, and I think when we were corrected for that, it could have been a little different. Like, instead of attacking, could have said, well, please do not do that again. We appreciate your passion for the saluting of the flag, but don't do that again. Something like that. Instead of, a threat.
Do you think that created a risk or a hazard to anyone when the Pledge of Allegiance was sung enthusiastically by the crowd?
I think I've been a relevant objection based on the nature of our charge. I don't think the charge is as creating a hazard. So I'm not sure I understand that.
Because it's the disorderly conduct statute. And it's talking about people of reasonable sensibilities, and I would think that every citizen is a person of reasonable sensibilities.
Tell me your question again, Mr.
I'm not even sure if I remember it, to be honest. This is the problem. I said, did the singing of the Pledge of Allegiance seem to create a reckless risk?
Not at all.
I'll allow the question.
Like I said, I viewed it as the people there were passionate. You know, they weren't elevating profanities or nothing like that. It was love for the country, patriotic.
Okay. And at that point, had the meeting even begun?
That was basically the beginning of it.
Okay. Would you consider Sununu's admonitions a lawful order?
I actually wouldn't know about that. I wouldn't think so.
All right. And did you hear any police officers give any lawful orders at during the meeting at all that you heard? No. Okay. I think that should be good.
I do have some, thank you, Ron. Mr. Buck, thank you for being here. I have a few questions to follow up on what Mr. Staples is asking. First off, it sounds like you went to this meeting and you went with your wife.
Yes,
And you got there and you were one of the group of people outside who were allowed in.
yeah, we were there early.
And sort of following up with one of the last things that Mr. Staples asked you, do you have any memory at all of a female trooper standing in front of the crowd at some point in time and giving a statement basically saying, we appreciate you being here, however, if there are any outbursts or loud problems, we are going to arrest people for disorderly conduct? You have no memory of that?
No.
Okay, all right. So it's, okay. With respect to what you heard and saw, you've testified a little bit about the early part with the Pledge of Allegiance. Do you remember there was a brief interruption where, there was a brief break when someone spoke to the crowd from the floor as opposed to from the stage? You have no memory at all of a female trooper coming out and addressing the three rows or the three sections of the public who were there?
I don't.
You don't, okay. You do recall at some point in time hearing someone say, amen.
I heard amen, it sounded like amen, whether it was someone right to the left or right of me, or,
Okay.
like I say, that's a common thing mentioned as an agreement.
Right. And then you said that you heard, or you may have heard someone say in response to the amen, yeah, or something along the lines of, you didn't, like someone in agreement with that, like call and response, like amen, yeah.
Not sure about that.
Not sure, okay. In any event, from where.
Relevance, I'm not even charged with saying yeah or amen. Objection, relevance, I'm not charged with saying amen or yeah.
What's the relevance?
I believe we've had testimony already about what prompted trooper or a trooper boy to then go up to Lieutenant Baldessari and make arrangements to have the defendant arrested, what it was that he said or did that caused that, okay? So I think it's relevant to prior testimony. The witness is saying he didn't hear him say it, so I'll just move on.
Well, I could state what was relevant to what happened was the meeting that happened a couple weeks before. That's
Okay.
what this was all about.
Okay, so were you at the meeting a couple weeks
Sununu,
before?
yeah,
All right.
Sununu had a breakfast. And we were all allowed, we went to that too, because we were discussing again.
Okay, where was this?
This was at, St. Anthony's College.
Okay, so you were at St. Anthony's, is that another governor executive council meeting?
Correct.
Okay, so what happened there? I thought you said, okay, please tell us about having gone to that.
Relevance, objection.
He's answering the question.
Well, what's the relevance of this?
He said he had a.
He was at a meeting before.
The governor was saying or doing, and he was relating it back to it. He ought to be allowed to answer the question.
I'll give some leeway because the witness made reference to this, so I'll allow it.
Well, the reference I made is because we were at that meeting and people weren't necessarily seated and it was louder. And there were comments being made and, I believe Governor Sununu left because he was angry because it was loud in there. And like, I'm sure from his viewpoint, the meeting was out of hand or something he couldn't control. And so this next meeting was very much calculated and pre-planned. You could see it when you, like I say, from my wife walking in, when we got there, it was all a stage. Very controlled event. You know, and like I said, I just wish that they would have just been a little more cordial and not out to arrest people. It was clear with all the many vehicles there, sheriff's vehicles there. It was to hurdle up and they wanted to, you know, get anybody said anything like an amen or anything, they were gonna be taken away.
At this prior meeting, was one of the people.
No, the second meeting.
The meeting.
The chairs were all wire-tied together. They were expecting a riot and hoping for one, it seemed.
Okay. And at the prior meeting at St. A's, was one of the people who was speaking up and being loud, Mr. Staples?
Yes.
He was, right?
Yes.
All right. And you remember that because you were present.
Pardon me?
You remember that because you were present.
Exactly.
Objection, Your Honor. This is on video. This is not disputed. I get loud, I'm loud. So the relevance factor here on other public hearings that people are attending to protest and express themselves in their displeasure with the tyrannical bootlicking government here and these freaking a-holes, right? This is out of control.
So I think this thing has been defined sufficiently.
Thank you.
So just two other questions. Did you recall, did you have a memory of a trooper coming up to Mr. Staples earlier and saying, whispering something in his ear? Did you see that during the meeting? Did you see
Which meeting you referring to?
a trooper came up to him and spoke to him while the meeting was going on? Do you remember seeing that or becoming aware of that?
No.
As I understand what you're saying is you're a couple of rows in front of Mr. Staples, so if things are being done quietly behind you by troopers approaching or talking, you wouldn't necessarily even see that.
That flag, go back 5 feet maybe or less, would represent where Mr. Staples and Therese were to me as I was sitting there at that meeting. When Sununu directly up front to the left.
Right.
That's how close they were.
All right, but
I
behind
would have
you.
heard anything.
Right.
And knowing Frank, he was very
Behind you.
quiet
They
at
were
that
behind
meeting.
you. They were behind you.
Pardon me?
They were behind you. Therese and Mr. Staples were
Yes.
behind you. Okay.
To
And
the
you were
side,
focused.
off to the side.
You were focused on the stage in front of you.
Mostly, yes.
Okay.
Not looking around the
And
room.
one last thing I
Because we
want-
all brought signs in and we were videoing, so we were well aware of what was around us.
One last thing I want to ask you.
Yes, so
You
much.
said you had gone there because you wanted to voice your opinion about what they were doing with this. They were accepting money, or they were going to accept federal money with strings attached,
Correct.
right?
We were there as just, even as our presence, as a protest against that.
Did you indicate earlier when you testified something to the effect that you were there to voice your opinion?
Did I indicate that?
Did you just say that? You just testified. We were there to voice our opinion.
If we had an opportunity.
Right. Prior to that meeting, had you ever gone to their website to look at the rules for governor and executive council meeting in terms of how people are recognized to speak? Did you do
No.
that? Okay. So you went there and you weren't happy with this proposal, and you went there to voice your opinion.
We knew it, everybody was recording it, and we were carrying signs. My opinion was on my sign, sir.
Nothing
Right.
further. Thank you.
Yeah. His opinion's not on trial either. Apparently everyone's First Amendment is though, right? So, you said that I was very quiet.
Totally,
Is that typical for me?
not so much.
Right. Right. And so because you were sitting in front, were you constantly turning around and looking back at me, or were you mostly just looking ahead?
Mostly looking ahead.
Right. Were you talking to anyone at all, like just quietly or anything at all?
Just to my wife.
Just your wife, so you're talking
Yes.
with her. Were there any other people talking through the meeting?
Not just to be a disturbance.
Not loud, but
Exactly.
so they weren't disrupting, but were people talking at all? Could you hear other noises like squeaking shoes or anything?
This is beyond the scope of my process, but it seems like it's another version of direct examination.
It began related to the cross-examination, but it's starting to veer into new territory. Do you have any further questions for this witness?
No, it should be good.
Any recrosses? You may step down, sir. Thank you. Be careful with your step. Thank you.
Could you let Deb Budd know? Deb Budd, is she here?
I'm sorry, she was unable to.
She was. No, she was unable to. And then, can you see if there's anybody else out there?
Bill Domenico?
Oh yeah, Bill Domenico. Huh? And Ken Eyring? Okay. Where'd my look? So, yeah, Bill Domenico, I guess. We'll go with him. William Domenico.
Sir, come on up to the witness stand, please. Once you're stepping there, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in this proceeding will be the truth and the penalties of perjury? Yes, I do. All right. Please state your name for the record, spelling your last name, sir.
My name is William Domenico, D-O-M-E-N-I-C-O.
Good morning, Mr. Domenico. Have you watched any of the videos of the first 2 days of this trial?
Negative.
And have you spoken with any of the witnesses who have previously testified or who are scheduled to testify about the subject matter of this case?
I have not.
And has anyone told you, warned you that these questions were coming or prepared you how to answer those questions?
No.
Thank you.
Mr. Staples, please proceed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming out here today. And so do you remember October 13th Executive Council meeting?
Yes.
Where were you sitting approximately in the room?
I'd say I was sitting more towards the curtain, maybe a couple rows in front of the curtain, and probably half a dozen spots to your left, so I'll be left rear to you,
Left rear. So did you have me in your line of sight?
pretty much. Lens to the right, you were there.
And do you know my voice?
I know your voice well.
How do you know my voice well?
I've been in marches and other actions, if you will, activism.
And how would you describe my voice?
It projects well and always very clear and easy to pick out in a crowd.
Okay. Do you recall any disruptions of the meeting? Or any pauses of the meeting or anything like that?
I didn't recall any pauses.
No pauses.
Any disruptions.
Did you see when I was tapped on the shoulder and taken away?
Yes, I did.
And do you know why?
At that moment, I certainly didn't know why.
And so before that, did you hear or see me clapping, making a loud noise?
I didn't hear any noises that would be recognizable to me for you.
How about shut it down prior to when we were taken behind the curtain? Did you hear any noises during the meeting at all? Hardly anything. Were people talking amongst themselves?
Yeah, there was a little banter going on.
Mm-hmm.
Occasional murmuring, talking under somebody's breath.
Did,
Nothing that was meant to disrupt the.
and even if it wasn't, did any of these murmurings or anything like that pause the meeting or get any warnings? Do you recall a trooper coming out and warning the crowd at one point?
I do.
What did she say?
I don't remember verbatim, but essentially she was admonishing the crowd that if anybody made any noises, they would be arrested. She may have said it was a final warning, and I couldn't even believe why she was up there doing it.
So yeah, so why, what, bless you, what was she referring to? Did she say why she was given the warning?
No, I don't recall.
Was there ever a specific warning to the crowd given by the governor?
I think the only time the governor spoke directly to the crowd was after the Pledge of Allegiance.
What did he say?
I don't remember verbatim.
No, whatever you recall.
Something to the effect of outbursts won't be tolerated or something like that.
Do you know what he meant by the outbursts?
Apparently he didn't know the way we said the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm not sure what the problem was.
What about catcalling?
I never heard anything about catcalling or any
Catcalls. Whoops. Did you hear any whoops? And what was the audio quality of the room? Did it echo?
Similar to any large room, really. Wasn't terrible, wasn't fantastic, but pretty much hear what was going on.
Okay. And let's see here. Did Megan Walsh give the people in the room a chance to leave when she gave her warning?
I don't recall any specific instructions to leave.
If did she say if people are continuing to make loud noises, you'll be arrested unless you leave. This is your opportunity to leave if you don't want to be arrested.
I don't recall that. All that you would be arrested.
You would be arrested. And did you ever hear anyone say, "It's a lie"? That you recall. How about amen? Did you ever hear anyone say amen at any point?
I actually didn't hear. I know that that's an issue, but I actually did not hear the word amen myself.
How about yeah?
I didn't hear that either.
Have you ever been to any of these type of meetings before, public meetings? Would you say that this was a typical meeting?
In what way?
Well, in the time and the place and the amount of people that were there?
I'd say the location and the crowd size was larger than normal.
Larger than normal. Are the meetings usually held at the Police Standards and Trainings facility? Have you ever been to one there before? Are you aware of the rules of conduct at the State House and the Legislative Office Building for meetings held there? All right. And do you know if they would apply at this Police Standards and Trainings facility? Because it's not actually the place.
I don't know that.
Okay. And let's see if there's anything else here. I think that's it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for being here. It's Domenico?
Yes.
Mr. Domenico, early on in Mr. Staples' examination, he said, describe my voice, that you recognize my voice. And you said, you've got a voice that's loud and I can recognize it, you speak clearly.
I didn't actually use the word loud, but yes, I said he projects and I could easily know if it was his voice or not.
Okay. It sounds like from what you're testifying to, you were seated in the Police Standards and Training in a row that was closer to the back of the room in the curtain than Mr. Staples and Ms. Grinnell.
That is true.
Okay. So further from the stage and the governor and the executive council.
Correct.
And I'm going to go to the second part here. Once Mr. Staples and Ms. Grinnell were tapped on the shoulder and went behind the curtain, could you hear Mr. Staples and recognize his voice?
Yes.
And did you hear him say, amongst other things, we're being arrested? Did you hear him say that?
I did.
Did you hear him say words to the effect of?
Objection, Your Honor. I didn't even ask about what happened behind the curtain with this guy.
This is cross-examination.
Oh. So?
So, the opposing parties entitled to inquire about areas that they think are relevant.
Okay.
Did you hear him say words to the effect of, fuck this shit?
I don't recall.
Okay. Did you hear him say repeatedly, shut it down?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Had you heard him say that phrase in other contexts, at other public forums before? Is that a phrase that he says?
Objection, relevance.
I'm asking if he recognizes his voice, and this is a phrase he hears him say. I think that's relevant.
I did answer that I recognize his voice.
And have you heard him say that phrase before, uttering those exact words?
Objection, relevance, shut it down. Whether or not I said it before has no relevance to whether I said it at that time. We're not being charged with saying shut it down previously.
I think Mr. Staples is right.
Yeah,
This
well, what I-
witness has said that he heard Mr. Staples say, shut it down.
Right. And what I'm going to indicate, all right, so the next question is when he said shut it down, what did you take him to be meaning by that phrase in the context of being at the meeting you were at? What did you understand it to mean, sir?
I'm thinking on that, give me a second.
You bet.
I mean, objection, he's gonna have to speculate on what I meant. He can't know what I meant.
He can't testify to what your intentions were, but he can testify to what his understanding was from your message. It's a fine distinction, but it's irrelevant.
Sure.
From what I observed of Staples being removed to the other side of the curtain, I was under the impression that he was being wrongfully arrested, and my impression of Frank saying, you're being arrested and shut it down from behind the curtain was rather clear to me that he was being wrongfully arrested and he wanted people to do something about it.
Shut the meeting down.
Yes.
Okay. That's what he was yelling from behind the church. Shut it down. Shut this meeting down.
He did yell that from
Right. And you
I
understood
did not.
that's what he meant.
Objection, I didn't say that. He's saying, he's adding things in that were never even said.
He didn't use the word.
Shut this meeting down. I didn't say shut this meeting down.
That's what you understood him to say. That's what you understood.
Objection, he can't tell him what he understood. He's leading.
Mr. Staples, hang on. Attorney O'Leary, ask a clear, direct question.
What did you take him to mean when he said, shut it down? What was his intent as you understood it?
That's
Asked and answered.
And it was directed to the people inside the meeting? The people?
Objection, he doesn't know where it was directed. Obviously, it was directed inside to the meeting. This is ridiculous line of questioning. Thank you.
And once that occurred, did the meeting in fact stop for a period of time?
I don't recall the meeting stopping for a period of time.
Do you remember the governor saying words to the effect of, we're going to have to pause the meeting at this point?
I did.
All right, so did they pause the meeting at that point?
It was barely noticeable.
Do you recall Mr. Staples being approached before he was asked to leave at an earlier time by another trooper and spoken to? Do you recall seeing that?
I do.
Okay. And do you recall in response to what it was that had occurred immediately before that? Do you recall hearing or seeing anything?
I did not hear anything.
Do you recall at some point in time during the meeting before Mr. Staples was arrested that people stood up and held signs up and turned their back on the people on the stage? Do you remember that happening?
I certainly do.
And do you remember during the course of that occurring, while one of the counselors was speaking, someone yelling, "Amen"?
I never heard the amen.
Okay.
It's possible I heard it, I just don't recall.
Okay. And was it after that occurred, shortly after that, when the crowd had turned back to the stage and Mr. Staples had sat down, that he was approached by a couple of troopers and tapped on the shoulder and let out?
Probably.
Nothing further, thank you.
I'm trying to remember something from, I got distracted about this, but I do have two things. I'm just trying to remember the other one. I objected to that, and oh man. So the first, we'll touch on this first. The warning, you saw someone come tap me on the shoulder and talk to me. And from what he said, give me a warning. Do you know what actually happened when the officer tapped to me and talked to me?
I do not. I have no idea.
Could-
Warning, or if they were complimenting you on your hair, I just don't know.
So you couldn't hear anything that he said?
No.
Prior to that, was there any pauses or disruptions to the meeting?
None that I recall.
And maybe it was amen. I had a good one. I have to rewind my video. I don't think it really matters. Let me think here. Oh, meeting being paused. That's what it was. Thank God. Yes, paused. So, the meeting was, you said that the meeting was briefly paused by Sununu. At what point, and you said it was barely noticeable, do you think the rest of the room noticed him pausing the meeting? And at what point did he pause the meeting? If you recall, I don't know.
I think it was while you were behind the curtain.
So while I was behind the curtain, the meeting was paused, and for how long? Seconds? Well, how did it get restarted? Okay, so the meeting was paused at some point after I was taken behind the curtain, and then it resumed at some point. And do you recall other people being arrested at any point?
Here, let's go beyond the scope of the record. Sustained.
All right. Did I ask if you wouldn't know that. Yeah, no, I think we're good. You guys got any follow-ups?
What's your step on
Did you say Ken was out there?
Ken's out there, yes, sir.
So, did we have him up here already or something?
I don't believe.
I thought we did. Did we?
Mr. If you're talking about Mr. Eric, he testified last week.
Did he? Did he get to finish? Was I supposed to be asking him more questions? I don't know. Did we? He testified fully? So I guess if you want to tell him to come inside. Sure. And if there's anybody else out there, let me know. Well, you're not going to let my natural persons testify, correct?
I don't understand what you mean.
Rule 615 does not apply to natural persons. You excluded Robert Muckenthaler from testifying, and you excluded other people from testifying. Robert is here to testify.